Hello there. Yes, welcome back to The Agenda. Georgia Tolley here with you all the way through until 1 p.m. And, you know, my favourite topic, I think it's everyone's favourite topic at the moment. It's close to our hearts. It is the subject of traffic, because a new study has found that ease of commute is literally the top quality of life priority for residents, and congestion one of their biggest urban concerns. But that doesn't mean that we are willing to leave our cars behind. Oh no. 2/3 of us here in the UAE have never used public transport in the country. It's a new white paper. It's from Al-Futtaim, and it's calling for a complete rethink on how we design our cities, particularly when you're seeing such rapid population growth, which many cities across the Gulf are seeing at the moment. And the researchers argue that mobility shouldn't be an afterthought, but actually the starting point when you're designing a city. And it really emphasises the need to put people and sustainability first. Let us find out more with one of the experts behind the report. Julie Parak is the Chief Sustainability Officer for Al-Futtaim, and she's very kindly joined me in the studio. Hello, good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us. It's a white paper. It sets out a 10-year plan to fix urban congestion. I'm desperate to know the principal findings because as someone who spent rather a lot of time driving recently, I'd love you to sort it out.
I wish I had the single bullet answer.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody does. But I think what we just did with this white paper and the collaboration we did with a few organizations across private sector, but also public sector stakeholder and think tank was really put the finger on the fact that there is a problem, especially in the region, and it needs to be fixed. And then, as you said, try to think what are some of the interventions in the next 10 years that could help, both from a policy side, private sector side, and then behavioral side. The key takeaways from my perspective are, number one, it's a unique moment. Right, the region is seeing very rapid growth. Dubai 2033 strategy says the city will double its GDP and double its population in the next 8 years, which is very, very rapid. And so we're seeing, rapid population growth, but also a transformation of our economy, which is diversifying. There is new sectors coming in. Knowledge economy is becoming a lot more prominent. Post-COVID behaviors have changed. People work from home certain days. People shop online and they don't need to go to retail anymore. So why do they go out? Maybe it's more for social activities. So we're really seeing a mix of economic shift, population growth, and behavioral shift. That means traffic needs to be solved and the cities are changing. In a way, this is a little bit like what happened in Europe in the late 19th century, where you had very rapid growth, factories being built in the outskirts, and then people needed to commute from where they live to the factories, and that did not exist. And so at that time in Europe, cities like London, Paris, etc., created big public infrastructure, transport, whether it's called metro or tube or subway or whatever, right? And the buses that go with it, etc. There was also very big changes in housing and densification of housing, which we're seeing here as well. And then you also saw social housing and affordability becoming a big problem. So I think it's a unique moment for the region to think what that equivalent from the 19th century version that Europe went. What is the 21st century version? There's two big differences, right? One is the pace of change. The world's going much quicker than it was back then. And then what is the technology enabler? Because back then there was much less technology in the first place.
So an opportunity. What has gone wrong with how cities like Dubai have developed so far? What needs to change?
I don't know if I would say wrong. I think it's just a bit price to pay for success. I think I came to Dubai in 2006. And back then, population would have been below 1 million, right? It was a small town. There was already some problem. You had to go up and down Sheikh Zayed if you wanted to go from one side to the other. But, it was minimal problems. Nobody talked about traffic, about congestion. This was non-issues. I think many things have changed since 2006. And the main thing is a success, actually. It's the fact that many people are moving. The economy's grown big time. We now have 4 million people. As I say, the plan is to double to 8 million. And so, we recently did a survey, as you mentioned, for the white paper, and we asked people, do you have a car? 72% said, yes, I have a car, right? Which means 33% do not use public transport, right? So if you have less than 1 million people, that still works. If you now have 4 going to 8 million, that doesn't work anymore. And so I think we really need to rethink how the new communities, the new developments are built. My real estate friends and colleagues always talk about ingress and egress, right? You can have the best community. There are very good examples in Dubai, actually. Sustainable City is a great one, right? It's a fantastic community. If you live there, it's great. But you still need to come in and out to go to work or to go to shop, etc. And so I think fixing the way those communities intersect with each other and having a much more systems approach and an integrated approach where real estate developers, mobility solution planners, government planners actually talk to each other and have a plan that is a long-term plan that takes into account the growth. That is very important.
So we all know that the best way to reduce congestion is for all of us to get on buses or to get on the metro. 67% of people, according to your survey, still avoid public transport. So why isn't it working for most people? What does it take to shift people onto that service?
Yeah, that was a question we had. And so we asked respondents, right? Our survey has a base of like 2,000 respondents, so it's statistically significant. And it was very interesting to see the number one barrier for people to take public transport is actually it takes too long. And that's actually true across those who use it, which is the 33%, and those who don't use it, the 67%, right? So people just think it takes too long. The reality, we all know it, is the capillarity of the network is just not there yet, right? So I'm from Paris. Anywhere you live in Paris, you're 5 minutes away walking from a tube station, right?
Same
Anywhere.
London, same New York.
Is a bit not as good, but close
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Because London's much more spread. But here that is definitely not the case, and so it is very important going forward that capillarity gets built. We're very excited at Dubai Festival City that the metro will be coming. It's now announced. And this will be a fantastic unlock for people to come to, for example, Festival City. But we need this capillarity. This will be a mix of more lines, which have already been announced, but it's also a mix of, buses and other means of transport for the last mile.
Okay, so this isn't, I guess, just about public transport, though. Everything like energy, land use, planning rules all feed into it. Why is a joined-up approach so important? And is that something that we just haven't seen yet? It feels like the RTA are across all of it in Dubai. They're sort of in charge of everything, at least.
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think there is some pieces of it that do exist. There is some connectors, as you say, and obviously Dubai municipality is across a lot of what you mentioned. Of course, RTA as well, and they're very close partners for us, of course, right? But in the end, I think that, as I said at the beginning, the pace of change and the pace of technology change we're seeing just requires a big leapfrogging from everyone to start working in different ways, right? We're seeing now, and it's the same in Saudi actually, we're seeing an appetite from urban planners and real estate developers to actually start integrating mobility solution from the design phase, right? This was never the case before. Before you designed that best community, and then you thought about the roads to get there and, the public transport. But that is really changing. So we're seeing at the municipal level, at the government level, and also in the private sector, an appetite to have, I'll call it cross-functional groups that bring together not just the urban design, but also the transportation mobility piece into the equation from early days.
Okay, quick wins. Because it sounds like obviously they're building the blue line, but it's going to take them a while. Are there, what's one change, for example, that Dubai could make right now to ease the daily commute from the point of view of your research?
Look, there's a few things. We've just mentioned capillarity. I think enhancing and scaling that capillarity is actually not that difficult to do because you have all the data today and EAD has it and all agencies have it for each of the cities, right? Like where are the most congested roads and where would that capillarity work? And so what I think we need, it is a quick win in a way, is to say, okay, here is the most congested roads. We need to solve those bottlenecks. Let's put behind it, money and innovation, right? And test solutions. So from a private sector perspective, we'd love to see regulatory sandboxes where we can actually test, right? We're doing some pilots actually with ITC, with RTA on electric mobility for that last mile. Well, let's quickly test and implement and pilot, and then take back the lessons and say that worked really well. Maybe on this route it really worked, on this one it doesn't, and it needs to be done differently. I think we need that kind of small-scale piloting with very hard data behind it to check what's working and what's not.
Julie, I could continue this conversation for a very long time. We're going to have to get you back in the studio. It's been a great pleasure talking to you. And thank you so much for coming in to talk us through that white paper. A pleasure. Thank you very much indeed. Julie Parrock there, Chief Sustainability Officer for Al-Futtaim. And this is your opportunity to get in touch and share your views. Can you think of any quick fixes that could help the congestion in Dubai? I know when we're all sitting at the traffic lights, getting more and more annoyed by the traffic jams. Those are the moments when your mind turns to how it could be resolved. Well, this is your chance to share those moments. 4001, or you can WhatsApp me 04871 5500.
More of The Agenda is coming up next
on the UAE's #1 talk radio